The views expressed in the following podcast are not necessarily the views of the United States Air Force or the Air Force Reserve, but rather the perspectives of the individual speakers. No endorsement of any particular person, business, or interest is ever intended.
Greetings, Alamo Wing airmen and fans. Welcome back to Ready, Set, Airlift. I'm your host, Julian Hernandez. There's a lot of buzz across social media and defense media outlets right now regarding potential changes to the Air Force Fitness Assessment. As of the recording of this episode, the Air Force has not published any new standards or guidelines, but department leaders and spokesmen have confirmed a review of the PT standards is underway to align with a military-wide review of fitness standards which Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has directed. Master Sgt. Jacob Lewis sat down with two Alamo Wing experts to discuss some strategies and tools airmen can use to navigate these transformative times.
My name is Master Sgt. Jacob Lewis. Today I'm going to be hosting the 433rd Airlift Wing podcast. I have a couple special guests with me. I have Master Sgt. Delbert Templeton. He's the Wing Staff Agency First Sergeant, as well as the Resiliency Integrator First Sergeant. He's also a former Marine. Thank you so much for being here, sir. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
My other guest is going to be Miss Dena Lewis. She is our Director of Psychological Health for the Wing.
Happy to be here.
Excellent. So I pulled these two guests today because we are going to be discussing a topic that is hot on everybody's mind. We want to discuss the rumor mill about the PT standards and how to prepare. Disclaimer, we have all heard the rumors about the upcoming physical training test changes. It is out there online and in the news that the Air Force PT testing standards are under review, and as of right now, nothing is official. But we know that changes are on the horizon, and it is important to discuss the implications and to be ready now. One of my guests has been in you're going to retire next year, is that right, First Sergeant?
Correct. April
Excellent.
1st is my retirement.
So, how many years have you been in?
25 and a half years.
Excellent. I know everyone is stressing out about the test. How have you balanced your lifestyle for these past 20 years? What advice would you give to people?
I think looking at the changing standards coming forward, whether they're harder, more stringent, from a totality standpoint of why are they even mandating more fitness, if you want to put it that way. And the answer to that is, I think we need to understand the why. And the why, essentially, a bit overarching, is that it's a lifestyle. It's practicing that discipline. It's getting your body and your mind ready for that fight. And it's something that the Air Force in its current form has never seen. The last time we were in a major war was World War II. A lot's changed since then. And I think we look at our AFSC and say, hey, maybe I have a desk job and I don't need to do that. But we do need to be able to perform our duties for extended periods of time. Can we sprint across a flight line in an emergency? Can we do that in MOP gear? Can we do our jobs in MOP gear? How hard is it to breathe with a gas mask on? If we don't have technology, if our communications are down, how are we going to do that? We're going to have to send runners, or we're going to have some other forms to operate that. So instead of looking at it as a test is changing, let's look at it as our mentality is changing. And the test is only something for us to strive towards, but our mentality is physical fitness. That is part of our lives. That's part of our warrior ethos. And doing that will have so many other domino effects in our life.
Being prepared to go out and win wars. We have lots of different dynamic missions, and we need to be prepared to go into any new environment. Increased physical demands can have a profound impact on mental resilience and overall psychological health. How can airmen best prepare themselves mentally for evolving physical expectations?
Increased physical demands can absolutely have a ripple effect on mental resilience and psychological well-being. But when our bodies are pushed harder, whether it's through training, mission readiness, or high operational tempos, it's not just about strength and endurance, it's about a mindset. So for airmen to prepare themselves mentally for those evolving physical expectations, it starts with a strong foundation of self-awareness. That means knowing your limits, recognizing your stress triggers, and being honest about what recovery means to you. Mental preparation isn't just about powering through, it's about pacing, planning, and checking in with yourself regularly.
Focusing on physical readiness can have a positive impact on mental health. Perhaps people should reverse their mindset. Do you agree? Would you expand upon that?
I do agree. I think building routines can be a game changer, and not just the physical routines, but the mental ones. You can practice visualization, mindfulness, and setting short-term, realistic goals that can help airmen stay focused and not overwhelmed by the big picture. And sleep. I cannot stress this enough. Quality rest is crucial to both physical performance and one's mental clarity.
So, First Sergeant, to back up Miss Dena, as a wing resilience integrator and a prior Marine, what are some practical considerations and potential challenges you anticipate for airmen?
I think as leaders, we need to make it more of a part of our culture than it currently is. And it has to be a culture thing because it has to be a lifestyle thing. Physical fitness isn't something that you can just, I'm going to run 3 times a week and now you're physically fit. It's a lot more than your run time and your push-ups. It's a whole lifestyle. Your family is probably going to have to be involved in this, right? If you're getting better nutrition, that means that the family's got to probably eat a little bit different. And we spoke about the overwhelmingness. It's overwhelming, especially if you haven't focused on physical fitness. And that goes hand in hand with the mental fitness. Is the better you eat, the better you perform physically, the better your mind performs as well. It's important to know that we as airmen have quality resources that we can reach out to. We have Dena Lewis that's sitting right here next to me. She's amazing. I talk to her all the time. We have our chaplains. We have MFLAC. We have military and family readiness. We have the Hawk. We also have like nutrition classes. There's tons of resources that JVSA offers. And we also have Military One Source. So there's plenty out there to help teach us and perform better. But I think it's for the overwhelmingness, I think just pick something in your life that you can focus on. Whether that is, okay, I'm going to set aside 30 minutes 3 times a week. If you're not already doing that, maybe that's a small step that you can do and you can eat this elephant one bite at a time.
You bring up a lot of great points about balancing military life, family life, the fitness life. So on that point, I do want to ask this open to both of you, please. What strategies or resources can help airmen integrate readiness into their daily lives?
I'll speak from the leadership standpoint. It's making it more available for your airmen, letting them know that this is a priority. We are short on time. We're only here 1 weekend a month for most of us. And during that time, are you making physical fitness a priority? Are you talking about it in this holistic standpoint, not just from a physical fitness test? How are we eating? Let's talk like we're a family here. What can we do this weekend that will help you throughout the month? Can we start some sort of challenge with our shops or squadrons to just help motivate us, make it fun, and give each other a hard time to help push one another in a morale boosting way?
I think it's particularly tough being a reserve airman, where we're part-time civilian, part-time military. I think it's very important to foster that culture of physical fitness. I know our wing commander, he's given us time on drill weekend to go to PT. It's really important to give our airmen that time when they're out here. Any advice on how we can further foster that culture where physical fitness is choice and a priority?
Staying connected to your support system, whoever that may be, having those connections helps us when we need somebody to lean on. And then also looking at maybe some journaling or even taking a moment to step outside, breathe some air, and get a reset. So these are very simple things that a person can do. And if the pressure does start to feel like too much, seeking support is not a weakness. To me, it's a strength. So utilizing mental health professionals, chaplains, your peer support networks should be normalized as part of mission readiness.
For me, from my perspective, I've been trying to improve as well. I think it's baby steps. I was really bad throughout the years. I've been in for almost 17 years. And I've been really bad about going to the doctor regularly. Going to the doctor, getting that blood test, getting those results back could definitely put in perspective. your health, and also improve your diet. Sergeant Estevez, she's in my office. She's actually a nurse. So she's been over here telling me, oh, you're doing this wrong and that wrong. And it's important that we help give each other that honest feedback and help lift each other up. What advice do you give to the leaders to set the example for our airmen? Because I do think it starts with them.
I think just being visual with your physical fitness journey and showing from the top what that looks like for you. And all of our journeys are going to be different. But if we're talking about it and we're trying to improve incrementally, then I think that's going to show and that's going to trickle down. And the fastest way to change culture is leaders doing it in front and talking about it and showing the importance. I think as leaders, we have a responsibility to explain the why so that others can be on board and know the importance of why do we have to do a possibly 2 mile instead of a 1.5 mile. Are we talking about the distance or are we talking about what the culture behind that difference means? And I think that's very important.
But they definitely set the example. They set the tone. Fostering that culture starts with them for sure. I want to transition to, I know there's, from the Pentagon level, they want the PT standards to increase from all of the branches. And I know you were a prior Marine. Miss Lewis, I know a little bit about you. You haven't been in uniform before, correct?
Correct.
But you have worked for other branches?
Army and Air Force. But in working with JBSA, it's all branches, so I see it as a collective.
So from y'all's perspectives, there's different branches here. What advice can you give us about the differing readiness cultures from the other branches? What can we delineate from them?
Keeping the morale enhanced in the unit, I think, is important. And in environment of support, peer support, leadership support, you're going to have those that are high speed, and they're not going to have an issue with new standards. Some might need a little more support in being able to identify who those are.
I have seen the Marines, I've seen the Army. They seem to emphasize it a lot more than the Air Force. I could tell there's almost like a camaraderie of pushing each other, and they would talk about how they broke their new record, and they'd be very like braggadocious about it.
Yeah, I think having that camaraderie and that team is necessary. I think a lot of us, when we're stuck in our own lives and we're not getting out, we don't have those support networks. We get caught in our ruts and we do the same thing every day and we're not finding that new spark. When it's part of your culture, when it's part of the expectations, you are a warrior, you're here to be physically fit, that's part of your job. It makes it a lot easier to look at it from a different perspective other than, oh, I got to get out and I got to run, right? If you don't like to run, find something else to do, row or ride a bike for your cardio. There's a million different things, but find something that's fun. Get out, do it with other people and talk about it. Push one another and be there, be that family for somebody that may not have that support or that push.
Historically, we've only tested once a year. As I got closer to the test, I transitioned more focusing on push-ups, sit-ups, run. But throughout the rest of the year, I do a lot more stuff that I enjoy, lifting, light jogs, cardio, certain less impactful things just to stay fit. And I enjoyed it more. And listening to music, podcast or something, integrate some of your other hobbies into that routine has really helped me personally and try to make it fun.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point with the potential of twice a year, no matter what. We don't know what that looks like. It's rumors at this point, but what's the intent if they did do that? The intent in my head would be like, it's more part of your life. There's so many people that I have talked to that are like, oh, I got a 90, so I didn't have to test for a whole nother year. And then they really don't do a whole lot of physical fitness training throughout the year until they're a few months out or a couple months out, and then they're cramming. And then you just increased chances to get hurt.
So in wrapping up this podcast episode, I want to ask both of you, what is the single most important message that you want the airmen to hear and to take away? Start, Ms. Lewis.
One of my recent sayings is life happens, because it certainly does. You'll know it because you're breathing. So I always like to advise people to pay attention to how they're feeling. We often avoid or ignore our feelings, and it works until it doesn't. But your feelings are going to be the best indicator that something is wrong, and maybe you need to look into getting help or talking to someone.
Absolutely.
I'd say regardless of what specific standards or assessment coming out down the road, the most fundamental truth, it still remains. You're a warfighter, and your physical and mental fitness are the deadliest machine that America has. If you don't know the why, it's going to be very hard to get on board. So I challenge everyone to look into the why. Why does the government want it? Why does the DOD want it? Why does the Colonel Jeffrey want it? And then personally, why do you want it? Because it's more than a military thing, right? It's also, you're going to be healthier for your family. You're going to be more energetic, more attentive when your kids or grandkids. Do you want to be able to go to Six Flags when your grandkids want to go? And do you want to be able to get on and enjoy the rides and spend the entire day with them? Otherwise, if we're not physically fit, we get wore out, we get cranky. And so it's a holistic thing, right? It affects every part of your life. And I think we could all do better.
Thank you both so much. One final point I want to make, I think it puts a bow on top of what Sergeant Templeton is saying, is you have to make the time. That goes from the airman level to the leader level. If you don't make the time, it's not going to happen. And you're not going to just let the Air Force down and yourself down, but potentially your family. Again, thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you.
At Airlift Wing, 433rd, thank you all so much.
It's been a pleasure.
A reminder, you can find the full list of wing-wide announcements for the upcoming UTA on the Alamo Flyer, which is emailed out the week before the UTA. That's going to do it for this episode of Ready, Set, Airlift. If you enjoy the show, please take a moment to follow, like, or subscribe to the podcast on whichever platform you like to listen on. I've been your host, Julian Hernandez. Thanks for spending some time with us. Take care.